Good evening. I'm going to play a couple of tunes before the event starts. So, without further ado, a little bit of Paul Simon. I was 21 years when I first heard this song. I'm 49 now, but I won't be for long. Down the horizon, and the leaves that are green turn to brown, and they wither with the wind, and they crumble in your hand. Once my heart was filled with the love of a girl, held her close, but she faded in the night, like a poem I meant to write. And the leaves that are green turn to brown, and they wither with the wind, and they crumble in your hand. I threw a pebble in the brook and watched the ripples run away, and they never made a sound. And the leaves that are green, oh yes, they turn to brown, and they wither with the wind, and they crumble in your hand. Hello, 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 hello. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. That's all there is. And the leaves that are green turn to brown. This next one is one of my own, and it's called Take As You See. The rose that blooms only at night, that flower you know it just ain't right. Thy petals shroud the break of day. Why did you have to go away? Take as you see, and you'll still find me. Take as you find. Open up your mind. Take as you will. Promise me still. Take as you see. Please come back to me. Those were the days, but don't ask me. Was it yourself that you set free? I see you now from far away. I hear the words you used to say. still. Take as you see. Please come back to me. And life carries on. But sometimes only dreams can kill the pain. Don't hang on. Tomorrow is another day. This chance come round only one time. Open your heart, release your mind. The little children play, you know. They must believe for love to grow. Darling, open your mind. Take as you will, but promise me still. Take as you see, my darling. Please come back to me.
Thank you very much. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Richard Murley. I'm the hospital chairman. It's very good to see so many people here. I think I should congratulate everybody on getting here, despite public transport and the weather, which is truly abominable. I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve here. I hope that everybody's following, but I won't take a call. Obviously, we're here for a much more important purpose, which is to listen to the readings and to listen to Wendy. And I think I should probably just begin with a few thank yous. This is obviously under the auspices of UCLH Arts and Heritage, and that's run by Guy Noble across the whole trust. And I cannot stress enough what a great job Guy does in a very low-profile, unobtrusive way. Those of you who are unhappily familiar with this building will know the wonderful art that is throughout the building. The carpets in the waiting areas, the works of art that are all around the walls, not least here, and indeed around many places in the hospital. And this is all due to Guy's hard work and his contacts, and his influence spreads far and wide. He and I were very instrumental in putting together the Heritage Trail, which runs through outpatients and we're in the main hospital outside the day surgery area, in the podium, the long-load building. You can learn a lot about the history of our wonderful hospital and the 22 separate hospitals that have come together to make what is UCLH today. But obviously we're in the building that in many ways is our pride and joy in terms of the quality of care that we offer to our patients, the Cancer Centre. It's our newest building, though there are other buildings going up. And in many ways this facility here epitomises the wonderful things that we try to do to help our patients in the Cancer Centre. And this is I suppose you would call the holistic side, as many of you know so well. And it's very clear that many of the courses, classes, activities that are laid on here are very helpful to our patients coping with the terrible condition of cancer. And that's a wonderful thing to know. And I know that Wendy's reading and writing class is one of the most successful, if not the most successful, of all the various activities that happen. I think we're going to hear this evening from the class and from Wendy herself, who's obviously going to read from this in, and the wonderful sense of community that is this evening and throughout the week and the weeks in our hospital. So thank you. I hope you enjoy the evening. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's David, and I'm here because I'm a member of the writing group that Wendy's been giving up her time to organise for the best part of the last 3 years now, along with Raoul. Where's Raoul? Isn't he? There you go, there's Raoul. Yes. And as a bit of a warm-up act, some of us are going to be reading some of the pieces we've written within the group. And going through this process has helped a lot of us to deal with going through treatment, which is not that easy, and the aftermath of treatment. So, dedicating all of this to Wendy, who's led us through it, we'd like to start with Mark, please.
Hi everyone. Usually when Wendy pulls out writing from me, it's usually fiction or non-fiction or some weird sort of middle ground. But a couple of weeks ago she pulled out something which disturbed me. Poetry. What is a poem? What is prose? I don't know, but Wendy always tries to convince me of different things. And I'm still undecided. I don't know if that's because of the day or something entirely different. So I wrote some poetry, which Wendy believes is poetry. And so I'm going to read 2 pieces to you. And I don't know how I came up with them, but there was a couple of prompts Wendy suggested during class. One of the prompts was, once I had an island. So I'll read that one first. Once I had an island in the middle of a lake. It was big enough for me and the friends that I take. The cabin by the shore, I sleep in and I snore. No one can hear my sound. She is hardly ever around. Last night I dreamt I went to my island. What did that all mean? The middle of the lake, my island drowned, never to be seen. I write a story of my island for everyone to read. It is my place of happiness, a place where I do not bleed. That's my first one. And the second one came from a poem
by Edith Sitwell.
Yes.
Still Falls the Rain.
Still Falls the Rain. So Wendy gave me the line, Still Falls the Rain, and I come up with this thing. Looking out of the window, dark and cloudy, and still falls the rain. Inside she cooks supper for her spawn, and still falls the rain. Eaten all fat and full, and still falls the rain. They fall asleep. The TV entertains in vain, and still falls the rain. She washes up, looking out of the window, and still falls the rain. The sun is out, warming the ground, and still falls the rain.
For some reason we've been writing a lot about rain. Valerie is the next up, so if you'd like to come and join us.
Hello everybody, I'm Valerie, and I've been coming to Wendy's group for about 3 years or so. and like all of us, I'm recovering from this very unpleasant disease in winning at this particular moment in time. And this prompt, Wendy gives us a prompt and says, write for 5 minutes on this. And this one was to express a time when I've been happy. I'm on a beach. I never visit this town in the height of the season, so it would now be about 4 in the afternoon. A stiff breeze has started to blow off the sea, and the sun is starting its trek towards its setting time and nightfall. It's a bit chilly to stay at the beach, so I gather up my paraphernalia and head back into town. Beside the Ayuntamiento, which is a magnificent building, there is an alley that gives on to some primitive steps. I take this ascent, and on turning left I'm rewarded by the sight of a solitary palm tree. Climbing a little higher and turning right, I reach a totally simple and peaceful small square. I love to sit here in the late afternoon. It is here that the zigzag, that the pedestrian route to the castle, Santa Barbara, begins. When I'm ready to leave, I make my way back down through the old town. I must pass through the district of San Roque. In a few hours, this quarter will be jumping, the many bars filled to capacity with music, where the young folk come to hang out, listen to music and dance. The sweet stench of marijuana lingers on the warm evening breeze. I hurry back to my lodging to put some warmer clothes on and sortie once more to walk by the port on the magnificent Esplanada de España, which is paved with swirling, multicoloured mosaic which are psychedelic in appearance. I collapse into the nearest cafe to sip a glass of wine before dinner. Sitting under a centuries-old palm tree, life doesn't get much better than this.
Thank you, Valerie. To follow up? Yes. It'll be Tony is up next.
Hi everyone. I've only been in the group about 3 months, but I've really got to like it a lot. I actually wrote this short thing while I was waiting for the tube for a friend of mine at Stockwell. So here we go. It's called A Near Miss on the Tube. The man was standing on the platform waiting for the train to London Bridge. Feeling distracted, he thought of writing something to focus his mind. He fished out his pencil and notepad from his shoulder bag, whereupon he found his pencil was blunt. So he dug back into his bag and fished out his plastic pencil sharpener. He moved to the platform edge and proceeded to use the sharpener, letting the shards of wood fall onto the track. Job done, he began writing in his pad. But by now, the illuminated indicator above his head was showing stand back, train approaching, of which he seemed to be blissfully unaware. Still bent on getting a point on his pencil. Now the metal rails were singing softly as the train progressed towards the station. And as the seconds ticked by, the train whooshed out of the tunnel and along the platform towards him. Suddenly, he felt the touch of a strong hand grip his shoulder and pull him back from the edge. In the nick of time, actually I'm reading the wrong one. Suddenly, he felt 2 hands grab him from behind and pull him away from the edge. Only then did the man come out of his reverie with a shudder. He turned round to his protector and rather sheepishly said, "I'm sorry I've caused you the trouble. I'll be more careful in the future. To which his protector replied, "No problem, mate. Take it as a warning."
Thank you, Tony, and I think there's an important safety message to us all in there. Careful with your sharpening pencils. Next we have Suzanne.
My name's Suzanne. I can't remember what it was, but we were writing a letter. We do letter writing, and this was from something inanimate. Dear Suzanne, I am writing to thank you for the letter received by us here at the London Skies Rainbow Centre. This is where we hang out until a call comes in for one of us to appear over the city. We are then no longer invisible to the human eye, but can freely display our colours in sheer joy across the sky. There are times, however, when few calls come in, and we certainly feel confined, our colours contained. Perhaps we should start a creative writing group here to help us understand and express our feelings, our thoughts, and at times frustration, and allow our imagination to flourish. Yes, there are good things to write, but we do get frustrated. There's frustration when those clear blue skies are never ending, when the clouds fail to bring rain, or indeed when the sun never breaks through on rainy days. Oh, the release, the freedom when a call comes. Our wings can be spread, our colours revealed, arching splendidly across the sky. And often one of our apprentice rainbows joins us to form what we humans call a secondary rainbow, what you humans call a secondary rainbow. And we know we bring delight to you humans, eyes being turned skyward, and cameras clicking to capture the moment of elusive beauty. And we are amazed at how many of us have appeared on the internet. We know too that we are a source of encouragement, with many drawing comfort from us, a sign of hope in dark times of life. But Suzanne, we have never received a letter of gratitude before, so once again a big thank you. Yours, Grace Prism. On behalf of the I hope you get that. On behalf of the London Skies Rainbow Centre. P.S. Do you think your facilitator, Wendy French, could lead a creative writing course here for us?
Proof, if any were needed, that Wendy is appreciated everywhere. So thank you, Suzanne. And Karen, would you like to take the floor?
Hello everyone. I only learned about this magical class a few months ago through Suzanne. Thank you, Suzanne, for introducing me to the wonderful creative writing here. This is called The Last Dance. The audience settled in their seats to the sound of the orchestra tuning up. It was the evening performance, 7:36 to be precise. Several people glanced at their watches, wondering what was happening. Suddenly, the red curtains parted, and the Royal Opera House manager appeared. Ladies and gentlemen, apologies for the delay. This evening's performance will begin in 5 minutes. The star of the evening show was waiting for her doctor. He had been delayed in traffic. She depended on him as her personal physician because without the steroid injections, it was impossible to dance to perfection. The orchestra had been informed to wait until the conductor's baton was finally raised. It was the star's final performance, and she had reluctantly accepted it was time to leave. After all, at 58, it was a miracle to be still dancing at all. as dancers' lives are short ones. As the velvet curtains with their gold tassels swung back for the final encore, the dancer clasped several bouquets of orchids to her damp chest. Gazing out at the rapturous audience, her face drained of colour, she leant on the arms of the manager and conductor, supporting her on either side. Somehow she was able to say goodbye, her voice breaking with emotion as flowers rained on her from every direction. Sinking later into the dressing room's chair, she sighed. Secretly, she was relieved to hang up her ballet shoes. It was time to start the last stage of her life.
Thank you, Karen. We all like to have a goodbye like that. Okay. Next, we have Anne-Marie.
Hello everyone. Well, I'm the new gal. I joined the group last week, so this was my first piece of writing, so I thought I'd be bold and share it with you. Friendship. Friendship means to me someone to hold the Kleenex when I'm upset, or silently hold the space when I'm speaking. My friends reflect elements of myself and my life, and I see aspects of our shared lives mirrored in each other in laughter, memories, beliefs or values, and what we like to do. My friendships are like a kaleidoscope of colour, shape and size, together making a whole that is precious and priceless. Over the decades, friendship has meant different things to me. In childhood, it was trysts, crafts, games or baking. In teens, it was sharing about romances or experimenting with forbidden adult initiations. In early adulthood, it was about marriage dreams and starting careers, to now, sharing with them my journey into cancer, whatever that brings for us all.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Writing memoir and personal things like that and reading them out here takes a lot of courage and a lot of honesty, and that's one of the reasons I think where a lot of us tend to retreat into fiction, especially when we're choosing pieces to read. So thank you for that. I've retreated into fiction entirely. So this is my contribution. It's a short story called Hold Your Breath. Rick! Perhaps it was the glare of sunlight on broken concrete. Perhaps I'd had a pint too many in the pub last night. Either way, I'd been nursing my headache rather than paying attention to the kids. Rick, we're missing one, said Jojo. She hadn't come to the pub, so one of us was paying attention. I counted dishevelled heads. Jojo was right. We had 11 when there should have been 12. Yeah, I said. I couldn't look at her. Walking the kids through the derelict holiday village was a bad time to let my mind wander. The crumbling chalets, so called to add an air of continental exoticism to cheap prefabs, would fascinate a 7-year-old. Not that I'd ever found a wandering kid in any of them. It's Timmy. He's gone. Jojo's careful enunciation showed the effort it cost her not to shout in front of the kids. What the hell were... I thought you were watching them. I was. I swear I didn't... Oh, never mind. I'll get him. How are you going to do that? There must be 50 chalets in this place. He could be anywhere. Every camp counsellor dreads losing a kid. We have nightmares about telling parents why our backs were turned when a lurking paedophile or a stray dog made off with their only child. Jojo wasn't to know this was the last place she needed to worry about stranger danger, as we were supposed to call it. Nobody ever came here. I'd once seen a tourist trying to drag a whining dog between the rusted gate posts. The dog strained its lead until the tourist conceded the battle of wills and took the long way round. Sensible dog. The summer camp manager had checked there was a safe path through the place and never been back. If she'd come here a couple more times, she'd redirect the day hike around the place rather than telling us to stop moaning about it. I'll find him, I said. 5 minutes. Jojo rolled her eyes. She was new. We hadn't told her, because she'd feel it soon enough. Keep an eye on the rest of them. I was on my way to the ballroom before she could argue. They all go to the ballroom. In the 1950s, 2 weeks of regimented fun had been the English family's highlight of the year. The ballroom had been the place of dreams until Majorca replaced the Isle of Wight as the holiday island of choice. Before the holiday village went bankrupt, tens of thousands of people must have sung, danced and laughed in that ballroom without feeling a single one of the icy shards sinking into the nape of my neck. I forced one foot in front of the other because kids felt it differently. It must have been an adult who tried to burn down the ballroom. Whoever it was, I wish they'd done a better job of it. The fire had done enough damage to bring down a wall and part of the roof, so I picked my way through the rubble. Timmy sat cross-legged on the dance floor, surrounded by fallen tiles. Sunlight slashed his face with the shadow of a charred beam. His mouth clamped shut and his eyes bulged. "Hello, Timmy," I said. "What are you doing?" No 7-year-old should be able to convey as much authority as the hand Timmy held up. I waited until his mouth burst open and set him panting for breath. When he could speak, I asked him again, "What are you doing, buddy?" "I'm playing a game with a nice lady," he said when he could speak. "We're playing Hold Your Breath for Longest." I knew we were alone in there, but I couldn't help looking over my shoulder. Timmy was looking at empty air. "There's no lady, Timmy," I said. He grinned. I was a camp counsellor. He expected me to joke around. "That lady, there," he pointed. "She's flying." "Oh, yes. Her. How come I didn't notice? Silly me. Well, I guess she won. Let's go before Jojo gets cross with us." Timmy stood up and clambered through the vines, the flying lady forgotten. I envied him. When you're 7, what you see is what there is. You don't worry about whether what you see is what should be. Every time I retrieved a child from the ballroom, I vowed not to look up. Every time I broke my vow. It might not have been a rope that rubbed a scar into the varnish of the crossbeam. There must be dozens of other explanations. If only I could think of them. Thank you. And we'll finish on a lighter note than that with Jane. So please go ahead.
This is another short story, and this is called For Better, For Worse. It was a Thursday morning, just like any other, when his wife left for work. Having kissed him on the cheek, as usual, she closed the front door. Her heels tapped lightly down the garden path. Smiling, Rupert put the tea towel down and left the kitchen. It was clear to see who wore the trousers in this house. From behind the net curtain, Rupert watched his wife walk to the end of the road. She turned and blew him a kiss before disappearing around the corner. He remembered the phone call from the previous evening. He had been intrigued by the man's voice. His wife had acted normally, as if nothing were untoward. The phone call had not been discussed. It was as if it had never happened. Rupert wondered if all marriages had the proverbial skeleton in the cupboard. Alone in the house, he went upstairs to their bedroom. At the back of the wardrobe, he found the shoes. He brushed the cherry red leather with his fingertips and caressed the shiny stiletto heel. His wife had never worn a style like this in his presence. He paused momentarily to consider if he had the nerve to go ahead with his plan. But the surge of excitement deep from within could not be stopped. Sitting on the side of the bed, he removed his socks and shoes and gently prized his feet into the black stockings. He just had to decide which dress would look best today.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you to everybody. That's a selection of the things that have been inspired and encouraged by Wendy, but I think gratification has been delayed for long enough. Please please, Wendy.
Cancer will walk in the country, in the fields where Frisians wait to be milked. Enter St. Paul's when the doors are open. Will walk through cafes, restaurants, where people order Americanos. Cancer will walk where its feet take it, into distracted bodies, whose cells are greedy for change. I have a couple of thank yous to make. I'll be very quick with them. The first one, of course, is the Oak Foundation for funding my residency here, which has been an amazing journey for me, teaching me so much about people and humanity. To Guy Noble for trusting me with the post of working here with patients and staff. And to Vicky, my mentor, who's the clinical nurse specialist here, my mentor, my confidant, and now a true friend. Also Raoul, who has joined the group to help facilitate it, and to everybody, anybody at all in the centre here, whatever the role, the cleaners are delightful. Richard in the coffee bar calls everybody his babe, just makes you feel at home. Whoever the person is here, it's just a delightful, light, airy place to be. My remit was to run the creative writing book class and produce a book of poems, which was a very hard thing to do. I didn't want to be too optimistic, I didn't want to be too pessimistic. Where do you begin writing about cancer? If you're here, you can't avoid it, because this is what we're here for. It's to work with it, to help people, to see people on their journeys. And I've been helped enormously by poetry friends who've cajoled me, criticised me, told me to get a move on, and not to be too sympathetic, not too sentimental, I should say. So I want to say thank you, and especially to you people tonight. We had a horrendous journey getting here. I thought we might not get here, actually. I was nearly crushed at Victoria Station because they closed the gates both sides. But thank you. Tottenham Court Road. To UCH, where the flower market's lost to the traffic. And on the island in the middle of the road, people wait, lights change. And on the corner, a stranger sings something about a beautiful morning, and who'll buy it. And all the colours circulate, and all the unknowns, as the new vocabulary of others drowns common sense. Dialysis, stem cell, transfusion. How many years will the same people cross the road here, and how many, with all their words, will lead others to shore? We're going to hear a few poems from the book. I think he's going to
Try. Waiting in the lobby. My dad's asleep. Once he wanted his story told, but now he sleeps. Hat cocked one side. Outside it rains, and I've got to get him home. Volunteers wait to show people where to go. Touch screens, the first time, not always easy. People fumble with the words, gender, address, date of birth. The television displays your name. We don't mind no privacy. Privacy is low down on the agenda. Anything goes here. I'll tell you what I don't like. The way that woman's picked up her paperback, bent the cover as if it has no feeling, no backbone. We say things we never thought we'd have to say. I like watching the volunteers. They clutch their clipboards reassuringly. I suppose as they guide us into the lifts, the basement, appointments are running late. We're all on edge today, but doctors need time to listen, run tests. We all know, really. I like watching movement, faces, signs. Everyone wants to be the winner. But there's coffee, and Richard in the coffee bar mixes another cappuccino and welcomes everyone. Treats us like babes in the wood, looking for a way home. The man over there greeting his lover. That carer attentive to every move. Ambulance drivers stride in, cheerful to pick up their patients. The lobby speaks of the everyday, the next number for blood tests, the rain, the shaking of umbrellas, the sucking of fruit gums, tears, laughter, name, recognition, the pulse of now. And my old dad still sleeps through the rain. Got to get him home.
patient who returned to England from Africa. My body changes as my country changes. Where are the large birds that hovered over muddy banks? No tall grasses grow along Huntley Street. Plains and sunsets stretch into another distance. Where are the giraffes heading for the waterhole, the jungle, the world that was mine? Remember in the evening, the lions roar and the mosquitoes at dusk. Short-sleeved shirts abandoned, my arms covered, all weathers, the intrusion in my skin. Night is chased away from the branches breaking, an elephant on the rampage. The meow of the cat next door, that cry.
Colour. Brown. The colour of Jersey cows. The earth after winter frost. Dried blood from a wound. Red. Prime colour. The smell of newly picked tomatoes. Purple red blush of the bruise after chemo. Orange. Turner's turbulent skies. The December tangerine. Iodine rich on the skin. Yellow. The buttercup speaks under a chin. Sunflower seeds, once good to eat. Bile in the bowl.
Cancer speaks of painting a garden. Time then to escape to the garden, where palette colours change the season on this huge expanse of paper. But I remained fairly constant. Don't always like what I do, the pain I cause. Shit, the young girl says, as she throws down her brush. A heron painted, ready for flight, and the girl sketched. Reading her book, never turns a page. Stories emerge in the head of the girl, yelling, shit, shit, and more of it. The ornate gate opens and closes in between blood tests, weight checks, but I'm there, hovering over this garden, for it promises some certainty, uncertainty. It's never night here. Stars are blind, they wait. Children make their own light, mixed paints. The fern stays yellow. My colours change with intensity. I have no place in this garden. Minnows swim round and round in between blood tests and appointments. Another colours added to the garden. A haiku written, a text received and sent, while parents sit, clutch letters. In this expansive painting with a hint of grey, sticklebacks swim, and the swan's neck stretches. I want to be a wall in that garden. Strong, dry stone. Stone upon stone. A wall that won't crack in the cold.
The tower. The tower. Absent for a time, reappears. Another operation, more chemo. Doors locked against visitors and night. He's hated locked doors since he was a child. In his grandmother's house, he climbed to the attic, turned the key, smothered his hands in a trunk of wigs. The view through an isolated room is of London and sky. There's not a sunflower or staircase in sight. So what is it about locked doors that makes him write letters he knows will never be sent? He re-enters his grandmother's room and searches for mannequin wigs to wear when the doors open. He'll walk sideways along corridors into rooms full of paraphernalia.
Dr. Jones as the patient. I wonder if you'll be like the phoenix, will rise again after that final fall. Not afraid of death, but doesn't want it yet. Doesn't want to give in to disease he's tried so hard to overcome in others. Yesterday, the future still ahead. Now, it spreads behind like raging waters overtaking. Winter lasts twice as long as summer, On Radio 3, Vivaldi knows how seasons come and go. One violin counts the seconds of Monday. The room is hushed before applause.
In came the doctor, in came the nurse, in came the lady with the alligator purse.
Carry these words carefully, in and out of the ward. Don't jolt or spill them. Preserve them like the blood that's carried in this container of all containers. Prognosis is extracted as blood flows for the path lab. It's labelled, whisked away. Words should rest alphabetically on the bed.
In came the doctor.
The ward smells white. Letters spell stem cells, Hickman line, nil by mouth, breaking the mood of not knowing. It was my life, thinks the patient. We were all children playing in the park.
I'll be your friend forever. In came the nurse.
And how we jumped into the skipping rope on the right cue, relying on someone else to swing the rope.
And out went the lady with the alligator purse. I don't know if they still do that skipping rhyme in the playground. We used to do it at school. This girl, I'm going to read this poem for a young girl who has sickle cell disease, and I was running the group one day and just sitting at the table, and she came and sat beside me, and then she got up and I said, no, please stay, you're very welcome. She said, no, my consultant is calling me, and she said, what's your name, and I'll see if I can come back. So I told her my name, and she burst into tears. I thought, it's not that bad. And so her crying made me cry, because I think emotions, when you're working here, whatever, they're always very high up there. So we're both crying, and I didn't know why I was crying. And then she said, you used to be my head teacher 30 years ago, and from primary school. And there she was. And of course I didn't recognise her, because she'd grown so much. So I wrote this for her. This girl. The girl has a brother called Ash. He has dark, curly hair. This beautiful girl has a lover. He may be beautiful. The girl's body does not behave. Her cells are sickle-shaped, like the sickle that cuts down the hay. She needs perfection in cells. What the girl needs, she dreams. She grows through life with clogging cells. Blood is exchanged like currency. But even now the girl is beautiful. She mulls over words, breaks a muffin to enjoy. She tells me that pain is unpredictable, but there's refuge in books and music. Her eyes are brown, dark like a deep sea fish. Her breath, the presence and absence of. I've done some work with Francis, who's an artist on the Teenage and Young People's Ward. And in that, well, it's not a ward because people don't stay there, but it's a day centre upstairs. And on one of the walls is a huge mural of a wood with all these beautiful blue bells. And I was sitting talking to a young girl there, and this came out of that. In the wood, her arms are not free. The mobile drip that feeds her veins is dragged to the corner of the room near the mural of blue bells. When it's quiet, she can hear the birds in the wood, and she feels the scratch from the nettles as she wriggles in the plastic chair. Everything is seen plainly through the trees, and she wants to stay in the mural. If only the artist had painted her there. We sit together, not talking, but dawdling towards the glimmer of light. The trees are beach, and it's the ideal place. A rug could be spread, would have to be tartan, homemade lemonade poured, sandwiches would have to be mild cheddar, though mostly what she eats are old cupcakes, always chocolate cupcakes. Woods are special, she says. You never know what you're going to find. Once she spotted a slow worm that caused her to gasp and run as it wriggled for freedom from the wood pile. She sees it plainly as she sits in the wood. She doesn't want to find a way through. There was an artist who worked here with Roger, and he didn't work here, he was treated here and for many years, and he was so thankful to all the staff that he made this enormous sculpture of a star. It's really beautiful. It's in the basement. Pardon?
Fallen star.
A fallen star.
Fallen star.
A fallen star, yes. Fallen star. Sorry, you made us look fallen star. And it was delivered. It's a very, very heavy, enormous piece of metal and limestone. And it was delivered one afternoon on Friday, and I happened to be here. It was delivered by men in shorts because it was very hot. We did have hot days once. And it just, this enormous, beautiful gold star, and these men heaving and huffing and puffing in their shorts to place it. And it was wrapped with bandages to keep it secure. So they unwrapped it carefully, and then it's this beautiful thing. And I wrote this: "We are made from stars. This morning, I knew we came from stars, as through the labyrinth of corridors, a star has been delivered by men in shorts, who push, wheel, and struggle with this limestone rock, gold metal dust, with fragile bandages pulled away. In the deepest basement of the centre, this is ours to keep, not shining brightly from the universe. It rests, its final destination. A child may be so desolate, not look up, but if she does, she'll catch a star. Within her gaze, a star is hers to keep. It glows and shines without intention. Like loneliness, this star has found a place." Vicky and I are just going to read a couple of poems from the second section of the book. The first section was general poems, and the second section was about someone who we work with called Zipporah. Yes.
So I set Wendy the task when we discussed this project. One of the things that always strikes me is that everybody that comes into the cancer centre as a patient is an individual in their own right. But what we hear is very quickly they become somebody with a cancer diagnosis or a red cell diagnosis. And it's very easy to forget that that person has their story. And it's one of the reasons we do the group. And Zipporah was a much loved member of our group. And the very first group she came to, she actually said to us she wanted to write something that would be her story for her children of who she was. And when we discussed the project, it felt a perfect sort of combination to bring it all to life. And Zipporah really welcomed the opportunity of doing that with Wendy because she knew that she didn't have very long left to live. So I think it was a challenge that I set Wendy that I think probably at times she probably was frustrated or maybe cross with me, but she never showed it. So that's what we're going to try and present this evening.
Zipporah died last year. She was actually brought up in the kibbutz, and she had a very, very traumatic and beautiful life at times. And the second part of the book is her words, which I'm going to read, and then Vicky's going to read the poem that I wrote in response to her words. We're just going to do a couple of these, the beginning of Zipporah writes to her mother every night. The letter is never sent. She questions the relationship she never knew. The following words are her words. One letter goes like this. Dear Mama, it's only now that I can appreciate all that you did for me. Dying at my birth, you'd stayed alive to feel me kick and grow inside you. Now my cancer's grown like yours, destroys me too. Forgive me, Mama, for all the times that I've forgotten you, not called you by name. But that's not right, she starts again. Dear Mama, I've hated you for what you did to me, dying at my birth and leaving me to defend my world with what seemed like aliens. I couldn't find a family with my brother and his ill wife, so I begged for the kibbutz, where different mothers cradled me to sleep each night. Where were you? Sometimes I think about how different my story would have been if you had lived. It's only now I feel this spirit rise in me to make a peace with you. I have no fear of death. I sit in a clinical room with the chemo drip in my arm. A nurse writes up my notes. The ice cap covers my head. It freezes my body. Afraid to lose my hair, but not to die. I sign off now with my name, Zipporah.
Hey folk of books, hear my prayer, if ever at other times forsaking, Sappho, fragment 86. It was your choice to take yourself there, abandon others for newfound hope. Built on mountains and sea, with the past you tried to focus on what may be true. Atheist by nature, ready to take on another Jewish ancestry. Learn another family's language. You felt your own has let you down. Living had been so difficult, both parents dead and a brother's wife. With problems of her own, and you a boisterous, questioning girl. A stranger told you about the kibbutz, 8 years old, and your decision. It's as though your parents cheered you on, whoever they were.
Mama, and then of course there was Papa. He died when I was 2. I don't remember him either. You carried 6 of his children, but I was your only daughter. Dying as you did when I was born, what thoughts carried you to the grave? Each day it seems I climb another path, smell a new spring, question love and fear and what might be forgotten, or maybe remembered needlessly. I loved the kibbutz for the smell and the feeling of protection. It wasn't my sister-in-law's fault she was ill and couldn't bear to look at me or even hold their child.
Rules of the kibbutz. For it is not right in a house of the muses that there be lament. This would not become so. Sappho, fragment 150. Key to success. Keep things in balance. Studies 5 days a week. At age 12, you will dig potatoes, collect apples from the orchards. Come on time to class, you must do homework and participate. If you have a learning disability, please notify the teachers. The work week is 5 days for adults, at least 2 Shabbat shifts in the kitchen, clothing marked with a numbered tag, dirty laundry brought to the office. At night, children have 4 hours with their parents. An orphan will receive a cuddle from a stranger who will become a mother figure. I've been lonely all my life.
Mama, it was in your dreams, my dreams, you came to me. I saw you as I imagined you, like me, only older, except being of Russian ancestry, you had fair hair. Your lips would have been red too, and a full skirt swishing against the grass. Only I'll never know. My brothers don't talk of such things. I doubt they ever notice. I see you now and imagine you with the ice-cold cap. Only, of course, this is modern technology you never had. I wonder about your treatment, how primitive it was. And did you suffer, Mama? Thank you. And I just think working with everybody here made me think of the words of Gerard Manley Hopkins, what I do is me, for that I came. Thank you very much for listening.
Still that watercolor of an allied afternoon, and the sun shines through the curtain lace, and shadows cross the room, and we sit and drink our coffee, couched in our indifference like shells upon a shore. We can hear the ocean roar in the dangling conversation, the superficial side, the borders of our lives. you're Emily Dickinson, and I'm a Robert Frost. We know our patient bookmarker that measure what we've lost. Like a poem poorly written, we are verses out of rhythm, couplets out of rhyme, in syncopated time. And the dangling conversation and the superficial side at the borders of our life. And we speak of things that matter in words that must be said. Can analysis be worthwhile? Is the theatre really dead? And how the rumours softly faded, and I only kiss your shadow, I cannot feel your hand. You're a stranger now unto me, lost in the dangling conversation and the superficial side.